Hey everyone, welcome. Good morning, good Monday morning. Hope everyone's well and had a good week. And I am back here to paint with you this morning. And if you are new, welcome. I'm Cheryl from Tinker's Cart Art. I'm here on my Craft Round the Clock segment this morning, as well as you're finding me on my Tinker's Cart Art page and my Learn to Paint with Cheryl page. So welcome everybody. I love to paint. I love to share painting tips, and I love to paint with you guys. Hi Mickey, thank you for popping in. I'd love it if you guys say hello when you pop in. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you're working on. And as we go along, ask questions. Let me know what you might want to see painted. I'm certainly happy to address any kind of thing that you might want some lessons on. Hi Lisa. Hey Lisa. Oh, good morning everybody. I know I really gave up last week saying we're going to finish up Halloween. We're going to jump into Thanksgiving. People are doing Christmas already. But I went, and I'm going to do a kind of a fall Thanksgiving thing. But I went to Michael's, and these little pumpkins, which I love, but they're usually kind of pricey, were 60% off. Happy Monday, Lisa, to you too. Hi, all my Lisas come in at once. Hi, Pam. Thank you guys. Georgia. Oh, okay, Mickey, I'm in Florida. I come to you in the summertime from the coast of Maine, and I'm back in Florida. Hi, Tracy. Good morning. Thanks for sharing me over. So I bought a few of these little pumpkins because they were 60% off, and I've been dying to paint one, and I'm still going to paint it, I think, for Halloween, but it's going to be pink, so I'm going to put little ghosts and bats. But we're going to do something more fall-like, something that you can use for Thanksgiving this morning. I've played around on the bottom of it just to see how the paint takes. I've not painted on these as they are. The paint is a little bit transparent, so I'm going to just make some base coats and add some paint to it. It takes the paint markers really nice, so we'll incorporate some of those. I do like paint markers. And we're going to hop on and just paint some fall leaves, flowers, acorns, maybe some pine cones. Sometimes when I do a project like this, I like to get started by just picking out a palette. And I don't know if you can see my paint palette here, but I've taken just colors that I think would be nice for fall. And sometimes I like to just narrow my palette down, not have a lot of colors, have it more cohesive, and just use all those colors. So I've got, some red browns, a little bit of green, really fall palette. You could do so many things on these little pumpkins. A turkey painted on here would be cute. We're just going to kind of do an overall pattern. Many times I just jump right in and I just start painting elements around. Here, I was waiting to go on, so I did put a little sketch just so I know kind of where things are going. Hi, Janet. Good morning. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. And we're going to just jump in. I'm using Ordinary Craft acrylic paints. I have blue paint on my glasses. Some synthetic brushes, nothing that's real pricey. We're just going to jump in with what we have, and here we go. Hi, Cheryl. Hello, the other Cheryl. Thank you guys so much, and Tracy. I'll glance up and try to answer questions. If I miss your comment or your question, I'll come back afterwards and take a look. This is all recorded, so if you're late or have to leave early, no worries, because you can come back and watch it later. So I'm just going to go ahead now and just grab some of my colors, some random colors. It's a little breezy here. It's beautiful weather in Florida right now. It's nice and breezy, and the temperature's fabulous. I hope it is where you are too. We survived our storms, thankfully. I did go over and paint the stem with a dark paint, just black. I want to put a little green or maybe gold. I want to use some metallic gold in here with these fall colors. I think that would be nice. But let me just go in and grab maybe like a burnt orange, and I'm going to make some big flowers here. And I'm simply using a flat brush, loading it up with the paint, and just with the flat edge down, just getting some petals. Now what I love about using a flat brush like this, it's so versatile. I could get a nice broad stroke by pressing that brush flat. If I needed a thin line, I could get that by the chisel edge. They're really versatile, and I do love my flat brushes. And I've just got an orange here. As I dip into my paint, I'm taking orange and maybe a little burnt sienna or a little red brown. I painted a few I started to paint a few acorns on here. I just wanted to see how the paint would take. The dark colors are great. The light colors are very transparent. So if we need to, we could go back and simply do a second coat. So I'm just going to go around now and just make those flowers there. Just like I said, a little orange and a little red brown. And I'm just going to make these big flowers to start. Sometimes I start with the biggest elements. And I'm just going to go right around and just fill those in. I'll try to do it upside down when I can so you can really see what I'm doing. And oh, Lois from Vermont, good morning. Yes, my New England neighbor up there. And sometimes I don't mind that it's transparent. Sometimes I don't mind a little the light showing through. It looks a little watercolor-like. Sometimes I want a solid flat painting, and that's when I'll do a second coat. So let's do one more little flower here. And I'm going to do orange flowers. I'm going to I'll show you a couple of different techniques for quick flowers to paint. I'll do some that are going to just be almost like a one-stroke rose. So we've got our orange just all around. Plenty of room to add leaves and acorns, pine cones if we want, all sorts of things. And I know we talked last week about what people would like to see, and I know pilgrims were mentioned, and I have been researching and sketching, so I'll have some cute pilgrim and some cute turkey designs coming before we jump into Christmas. I know it's tempting, and there's so much out there, but I want to go ahead and get a little bit in for fall and Thanksgiving, since I've done so much Halloween, which I love. Halloween is my favorite time of year. And hello, Lori and Michelle. Thank you guys for popping in. So I'm going to do sort of like a little one-stroke rose. It's going to be in this yellow ochre color, but to start, I'm just getting a little, I'm not trying for a perfect circle. I'm just making it a little bit of a rough oval. That's going to be just a few strokes on top after, and that'll just be enough of a decorative kind of a flower to fill in some spots. So let's just do that. And let's see, I know I sketched a little bit on here, but sometimes I just go ahead and just put things where I want to. So there's one there, and I'm not being perfectly precise on placing them perfectly, but I'm kind of eyeballing it. I think that's good. That's good for those guys. We'll put those in. We can add things in later. I can add little vines and little tiny leaves. I'm going to do some leaves, some fall-shaped leaves, like some oak leaves and some maple leaves. I'm not going to worry about them being perfect. I want just to get some color on there. So, hey, George, good morning. How are you, my friend? Nice to see you popping in. I want to get a little bit of green in here, so I think I'm going to do a really dark green leaf that I can maybe put some light highlights on later. So I'm just take a dark green and a little black. And I just want to get, I know it looks dark, but like I said, on this resin pumpkin, the dark colors show up better, and then I can go over it with a little lighter. So I'm just going to go and get that a really dark green to start. And I'm just going to put those little leaves in places. Since I'm doing that leaf, I may as well go around, and wherever I had sketched on that kind of a leaf, I'm going to go ahead and just fill it in. Since the color's on my brush, it's a good way to do it. Especially something like this that's an overall design. I'm just going to follow my sketch just with a simple pencil sketch. If it was a darker pumpkin, I would just do a little sketch in there with chalk, which is nice because it just sort of erases when you want to take the lines away. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Janet. So, you know, my familiar faces here this morning. I do like to come to you on Monday morning when I can. Sometimes it's other days, but I do like Mondays. Start the week off painting with my friends. And that's what it's like for me. I love to paint, but sometimes it's nice to have company. So I appreciate you guys popping in and painting with me today. All right. I don't want to really put my pumpkin down on the side, so I don't want to lift. I'm trying to do it so you guys can still see. So I've got some green leaves in there. I'm going to change colors. I'm just using the color palette I chose. I've got, maybe about 6 or 7 colors there, then black and white. Sometimes if you take and you're going to do your painting and you've got all your colors, I've got lots of colors, and you just grab this one and that one and this one. It's nice. You can do a nice colorful painting, but sometimes it's nice to concentrate your color palette on just maybe 5 or 6 colors, and it makes a nice cohesive pattern. Try to stick with those colors if I can. Let's see. Let's get a lighter yellow maybe for some of the leaves. Some of those oak leaves have different colors in them, so I could very well start an oak leaf like this. Whoops. It's a little difficult to grab onto it sometimes. So I could get that oak leaf shape, which is kind of like this. This little arms. And then I can add other colors to it. And sometimes it's good when it's wet, because I could go ahead in here now, because the yellow's wet and the orange is now wet. You can see how I can get a little bit of a orange into a yellow leaf, so it has a little bit of color. I can do that with other colors, greens. Those oak leaves, you can go from oranges to greens to a little brown. They're a fun leaf to paint, and I think I will start them all with the yellow, but then I'm going to go ahead. I've got a little one right here. Then I can go and add colors in, and I'm doing that rather quickly because I want to be able to blend the wet into wet. So I've got yellow here, wet paint, and I want to make sure you can see that. And then I can just brush in a little green. I can brush in a little green here, and I can even go and brush in a little orange here. I don't have to work at blending that leaf because I'm painting wet into wet. So sometimes that's why I paint a little quickly so that I can get some colors in there and really mix them well. Oh, look, I forgot one of our orange bigger flowers. And I start with the bigger flowers to really get some of that area painted. It doesn't seem so hard to fill in all the other areas. So let's just get that filled in now, quickly. And here's another little oak leaf on the corner there. And again, I'm just going to base coat it with the yellow. And then I can even use brown, like I say, any of the colors on my palette, because I know they're going to all kind of go. I've got kind of a red-brown here now. And I'm just softly blending that. Maybe a little dark green over here. I just want those colors. I'm not worried about them being too perfect. There's another little leaf right there. And I will keep an eye on my time. We have 45-minute segments here. I started at 11:30. We end up at 12:15. And if I don't talk too much, I can probably get done by then. So now we're going to do kind of a maple leaf. Maybe I'll start with a little bit of an orange for the maple leaf. And that's just got these kind of jaggedy strokes. Now, because I'm in front of an orange flower, I think I'll go down here and do this a little darker brown, just to have it stand out. So I did the same thing. I filled it in with orange. I went on with my brown. I could even go on with a little bit of yellow to brighten that up. And it's just going to be a little bit of a maple leaf. And I'm just going to grab little shades of whatever on my palette. I might go with a little of the orange with a little of that gold on my brush. And then maybe a little of that brown, because I do like, if this flower is in front and this leaf is behind, if it was a little darker right here and give it a little shadow, this is going to recede the leaf back and the flower will be more in front like we want. Let's just do a few more of those leaves. I have got a little yellow ochre. We're going to make into like a little mom or like a little rose. So we'll go with that browny orange there, which will be kind of nice. A little bit of green in that, perhaps. Just so that it's all not one shade. Do we have any more of those? I've got another one down here. Let's kind of go with a little more green on this one. Okay, I hope you can see. I'm trying to turn it so that you guys can see it. Laurel, Rebecca, thank you guys. Welcome in to my painting session today. That had a little bit of gold already on the brush. I think it's kind of already some nice two-tones. And I see where I sketched some more leaves here. I'm just going to kind of go ahead and just get those filled in. They don't always have to be real detailed. This will put a little leaf coming out from behind that one, a different color. Any more leaves? I do want to put some acorns and maybe some pine cones. So I'm going to do one more big oak leaf here. And I'm going to go into the golds for that one since it's coming off of a orange flower. And I almost like that a little transparency here, and this ivory colored pumpkin is showing through my paint a little bit. And it's kind of nice. I don't mind that at all. I get a little bit of orange in there. Get a little brown on my brush, so I'm going to get a little lighter here maybe. A little orange. And again, on a surface like this, the paint doesn't dry quite as fast. You have a little time to blend. Nothing to say that I can't come back after this paint is dry and dab in some little colors too on top, which we may just do that. I want to go and go over my bigger orange flowers a little bit now with a little bit of a second coat in some places. It's just going to brighten it up a little bit, and I just want to have that a little more solid. I want to put some detail work on that after. I may just do that with my Posca paint markers. And I'll go ahead and give them kind of a dark brown center which then I could dab or use the marker for some little white or yellow dots just to make a little center. So just a quick, I'm not worrying about following every line exact. I'm just giving a little second coat in the middle where I find that paint was a bit transparent. And, oh, Nancy, hello. Nice to see you. Thanks for popping in. Hi, Anita. Thank you. It's hard for me to see because I'm on top of it. You know, when you're painting with me, I say, step away from your paintings. Get back to where perhaps a viewer would be looking. It's hard to judge right here. So do back off a lot because you get too judgy when you're this close and see every little, mistake, which if you have a little mistake, I had a little bit of mistake here. I just took a little brush with clean water and just wiped it away. You can fix mistakes all the time when you're painting with acrylics. It's so easy. I'm going to use a littler brush, flat brush still. Thank you, Pam. It was very just random. I just grabbed some of the fall colors. I have maybe 5 different shades of orange. I just picked one yellow, a gold, a couple greens. Now, we can also do some of our acorns in brown. We can do some a green. Sometimes you see those greeny ones. So let's just do a variety. Let's do some green acorns. That's just going to be the bottom. Then we'll put little brown caps on them. So I'm just going to pop through. I've sketched them out. So I'm just going to pop through now and just make some of them green. And I'll go back with my brown now. When I do an acorn, I do the bottoms, if I'm doing brown acorns, more like a burnt sienna, kind of like a red brown. And then the caps, I do more of a burnt umber. So they're 2 shades of brown, but you want to be able to tell the cap from the little center. So I'll just go on for the brown ones and just a little, it's almost like a little U shape. I know they're a little pointy sometimes on the bottom, but I can always put that little point in after. And again, this is just going to be so busy. People aren't going to look at each particular acorn and say, oh, that's a little misshapen. They're going to just see the whole design. And I think it's okay that you guys can see me. I'm sort of doing it upside down, so it's probably not as perfectly detailed as I would probably get. But let's see. And okay, I'm going to do a second coat, but let those dry. I'm going to base in some pine cones because I like to just base them in almost as a little cone-shaped dark brown. And then with a few little lines, we can make them look like pine cones. So let's just get those in because they might need 2 coats. And I didn't sketch those in because I just remembered, but I thought pine cones might be fun. So let's just put some pine cones in where we have some empty spaces. So just a little shape, sort of like that. And I'm just going to fill a little shape like that in little empty spots. And we can do like, sometimes it could be 2 together if we had room. Let's see, we have room here. This one's sort of facing this way, so I'll face this one a little bit that way. Let me take a little look and see. I'm not going to go too far down the bottom because I will lose it. When I turn the pumpkin, it'll kind of scrape the paint off. So I'm just going to get one there. And now I think I need a smaller brush still to get the little caps on my little acorns. So let's do that. Oh, good, Pam. Thank you. I'm trying to make it. I know sometimes I don't work on real small things because I'm afraid that you mightn't see what I'm working on because I want to show you something what I did last night and I think you'll like them, but it might be kind of hard for you to see if I was to paint them. I'm putting little brown caps on, whether it's a green acorn or a brown, and just little brown caps. We'll put a little stem on them. They look like little berets, don't they? They're wearing their little hats. And they're upside down, so I am a little bit off on my strokes, but it will show you that it doesn't matter. It looks a little more, when it's wonky, I love to have things a little wonky and a little more whimsical than perfectly painted things. My pine cones will get a second coat, but they're a little wet. So this is pretty much all we'll do for elements. And then we're going to just add little bits of strokes to them or highlights and to make them all come together. While I have that dark brown, let's get a little black into it. And let's just give our orange flowers a center. I'm just dipping into black and brown, dabbing the paint on so it gives it a little texture. And this is the only flower that needs a center. One more? Yep, one more. You can barely see it, but there we are. All right, we'll let that dry a minute. And I want to add some details. I'm going to try adding some details with my Posca pens too. The paint has to be really dry, and I have to use a light touch. I don't want to pull that paint up. If I find that happens, I may just use my paintbrush, but know that if you are a little uncomfortable with some fine details, you can always go to the paint markers. Just let the paint dry really well first. And if I don't have enough time to really let it dry, we will just paint it on. But know that the paint markers are a wonderful choice for all your detail work and writing and things. Cindy, and you know what? I try to, people think they're not good at painting. I try to teach very step by step. I know we're a little bit busier and less on a time crunch in our sessions here. But when I'm teaching online, I go very slowly, step by step. Put your paint here. Okay, now put your paint here, and I will give you a tracer. So if it's something you'd like to learn, just know, everybody, that if you're not a painter and you want to be or have a desire, you can learn it. It can be a learned skill. It doesn't have to be you're born knowing how to draw people and all that sort of thing. So do give it a try if you feel like you might want to get involved. And thank you, Cindy, for sprinkling. I appreciate that. I just tried this morning. This is a metallic gold Posca, which I really love the way that took. And I thought, I just love polka dots too. So I might even in between, because this covers so well, and I will accent some of my painting with it, but look at how nice that covers. So these are metallic gold polka dots. I love polka dots. No reason why we can't have polka dots thrown into our design here. So I'm going to put some around the top while I'm waiting for some of that other bits to dry. And there's other ways to do this too if you don't have the marker. You can take a metallic gold paint and you can simply dip the back end of your brush in it, and you could get some nice dots as well. So when I'm making polka dots, I can get a really wide brush and try it, or a narrow brush, or a toothpick, depending on what you want, but you can get nice dots. And sometimes I'll do that for snowflakes too. So, hi Mary, hey Kathy, thank you guys for watching. So this is drying. I'm going to do my stem last. I can see from handling it, there's a little bit of gold metallic showing through from underneath, but I'm going to put a little gold metallic, maybe some yellow ochre, we'll see. And just let me show you, I'm going to show you really quick because I'm letting that dry 1 second. And when I said I want to work on things that you can see, but I did these last night and look at how fun. These were so fun. I made little dominoes. They're dominoes, right? And I just put little bales on them and I painted them. I'm into my Florida gig now. So I've got little alligators. And I live in Lakeland, which is the Swan City, and I have an art show coming up. So I've done a whole selection of them with swans. So again, little dominoes. Keep in mind, you can find any kind of thing at the flea markets and the yard sales and turn it into something. And I'm still trying to work my brain into like, what can I make that? What can I paint that into? You've seen me paint on all kinds of crazy things, but those were super fun. And any questions about painting these? Just my acrylic paints. But I think if I tried to do it for a session here, they're just so teeny, it would be hard for you to see. But Lenora, welcome. Mississippi. Yeah, Pam, aren't they fun? I just wanted something for the art show that would be not, I'm having all my paintings there, and just a little something that's not as pricey as a big painting. So I thought these are just little tiny, tiny miniature paintings. So they're so fun. Okay, let's get back to our work here. I'm going to put a little quick second coat, I think, on my brown, just a little bit of paint on my little brown acorns, just to see how this one here, they're very see-through, but I don't have to do the whole thing. I can just put a little highlight, because what's going to make them look round is a little highlight. So we need to put a little lighter or a white highlight on those. And quick little second coat on my pine cones, because I want it very dark on those, so that when I put a little white or ivory colored strokes, it looks just like the little bit of a pine cone without doing too much. Okay, so just a little second coat, making those just a little darker. I'll take a small round brush now and just give my acorns a little cat hat. So they have their little hats on, but I just need to give them just little stems. It just makes them a little more acorny-like. And I'm doing it a little quick. If there was more time, I'd probably go and do a little bit more, finesse it a little more. But but I want to show you the basic, and sometimes the rough, folk-arty, wonky looking is really a nice little pattern. So I'm not going to worry too much about getting them perfect. I do want some veins on those leaves I made though. So I'm going to use a liner brush, which is just this kind of long, thin brush. I keep the paint thin so I can get some nice long lines. And that's where I'm going to do the veins in my leaves. When I do a vein in a leaf, I always start at the base of the leaf, for instance, right here. And I just maybe have a little more pressure with the brush, lighten it up, almost pull that brush right off the surface. And it just adds a little finish to the leaf. And it could be for any of the leaves that I've done. I am going to do that sort of little vein in there. And because this is liner brush and it holds a lot of paint, I can go through and do quite a few little veins, even on these dark green ones. I'll go back maybe and lighten that up, but I'm just going to scoop right around the whole design and just get myself some veins. I'm going to lighten that green up before I put the veins. You don't really see them. So these leaves I'm putting veins in are ones that we painted a color. We let the paint, we added other colors before the paint dried and mixed it. These green ones we just painted dark green, and now I'm just going to take my lighter green, and I could just put a few strokes on the leaf like this, and that is all I'm going to need for that. So it's two different types of leaves, very easily painted, and just some strokes of light green, leaving the dark showing still, just strokes. And from a distance, it looks like the little segments of the leaves. I'll still do a little bit of a vein, but it almost divides it up. So it almost appears that there's a vein in there. So I will do some veins with white now, just to give it that last touch. Same brush, white paint, but really thin down, just adding water. Never mind that my paint's been sitting out and it does tend to dry a little bit on the palette. Hey, Charlotte, good morning. Yeah, thank you. This was just because these were 60% off at Michael's the other day. I'm going to go into an ivory more than the stark white. I think I want a softer look with these fall colors than bright white. And so I even have a Posca market, which is this ivory color versus the white. I do white a lot, but sometimes I want it to not be a cold, harsh white. It just is a little softer. Okay, so there we are. While I have this, I think I may just, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just put little dabs. The little pine cone caps need a little texture, so I'm just going to take a little bit of ivory and maybe a little brown, so I have a very light brown. These are little, we don't need to do much, but I just want a little texture on them, and I did forget a stem on this one, so I'll just do that. I'm just going to make some little marks on that. There's almost like a little diamond pattern, and if I was painting an acorn this big, I would probably make it look more with that shape. But just a little few dabs of a light brown is all we need on something like this. And I still will give a little highlight to the bottom of that. I might go with a little darker green on one side for these green guys, but I'm just taking a little bit of a light brown. I'm almost dabbing little squares on the caps, so they may read a little as that diamond shape. I base coated everything. I put a second coat if it needed it, and now I'm embellishing, meaning veins on the leaves, little marks on the acorn caps. And now with that same brush, I'm going to give each of the little acorns a dark side. So if it's the green ones, I'm taking green and a little black. And just one side. So I'll try to do that without my hand being in the way. So I might just go down one side dark a little bit. And I'll hold this one up to you because there's two here. Forgive my strokes because I'm painting upside down. But see how it's just dark on one side now? That's just the dark green with a little black. And since I'm kind of have started with the right side being dark, I will just continue with that right side of each little green acorn dark. And I'm going to just go into the dark brown now and do the same thing on the brown acorns. I'm just on the right side. I'm going to give it a little dark line. And I'm going to hold this up for you in a second. I'm just getting a little comma, a little C stroke on one side of the acorn. And the other side needs a little shiny line, so it looks like a shine a bit. So I'm going to just use that off-white color. And I'm going to use it for each of them, whether it's the green or the brown. I'm just doing a little comma stroke. Here, I'll show you this. These guys there, they're just a little light on the left side, just a little stroke. I'm using the same color for both, just that ivory. And it just, from a distance, is going to make it appear that it's got a little bit of a shine. That's a wonky shaped acorn there. And I can always fix that by just taking a little bit off that little edge. And let's do our pine cones now. I'm going to use the ivory color again on those. And I'm just going to thin my paint a little bit, just because it's been sitting out. I might even get myself a little more of that color. And I'm just going to make some strokes on my pine cone. I'm probably going to work from the bottom up. And it's almost like little comma strokes. They need a little stem too, I think. So it's very folk arty kind of a just look, but from a distance you're going to say, oh, that's a little pine cone. Simply just little strokes. So I'm going to do the same on all. I'm going to start at the bottom. Sometimes they're just little strokes on the bottom, and I could get a little bit bigger as we go up. I'm going to come back and I'll give them a little stem now, since I'm here. I just need a little stem. So same thing, going into that ivory color, maybe smaller strokes along the very bottom. It's not really a tip, but it's a little bit narrower there. And then I'm going to just finish it off with a little stem. Over here, let's do this guy. Same thing again. And it's easier just to do them all at once. I have no idea what this is looking like because I'm so on top of it. But it's coming along, I think. Hi, Monica. Hi, Mary Jo. Thank you guys for popping in this morning on our Monday morning session. There, we have got our pine. Oh, one pine cone left. I did skip one. Get back into the ivory color. And I think this one was upside down, so I'll just start here. Little lines across. Can even curve them a bit. That's an upside down one. I want to get my little one stroke. So those little blobs of yellow ochre, kind of like a little one stroke rose kind of, we're going to do with that. And I think I'm going to put a little more gold on that just to deepen it up a little, because I want to put some one stroke lines with a light color. So let me just deepen that a little bit. So second coat on those gold roses. And while that's drying, we will put some little vines in there. There is a leaf. I did not get a vein in. I'll do that. I can put more of my little gold dots, but I want to make some vines maybe too. That's a nice filler. Oh, Pam, thank you. They're just pretty quickly done. Oh, you know what? Let's go into our big flowers. Let's see. What are we going to do with them? Let me try. Let's just see. I might try with my marker, just making some lines. Let's see. I don't want to put my hand in anything wet. I think I'll just kind of, with my paint marker, and I love these Posca markers. There's actually paint in the barrel, so it covers nice and opaque. I'm just making a kind of a wiggly line, couple of wiggly lines inside. Not a whole solid perfect line. Sometimes when I'm doing work like this, or even lettering, I don't want it to be perfect, so I make it a little off to begin with. And I'm doing a light touch because I don't want to take the paint off, but it's going on very nicely. I'm going to do the same thing for all of these guys. And I can even do some dots in the middle while I'm here. I'll come back with another color, but And this is almost, I could use this just to do my veins in these leaves. So I did the base coat, just a little reminder on how our process was. We did a base coat of color everywhere. Then I went back with the embellishing part, which this is still part of that. On some leaves, I added different colors. On these leaves, we added just strokes. I'm doing little line work now, and you could kind of go and do dots and dashes and, you know, all sorts of things to embellish. Let's see, get some lines in there. We'll watch our time. We've got about 10 minutes, which is perfect. I might try doing some of those little leaves and vines with my green marker just for the heck of it. For these flowers, let's see if this is dry. I don't want to go on anything wet with my marker, so these are a little wet still. Okay, let me do the centers of these flowers. So we can do little dots. You could take, I think I want to do some gold dots. So let's try the gold pen, which was pretty cool. Just some gold dots in the center of those flowers. This is more of a metallic, so it's kind of cool. And this I'm also going to continue more of the polka dots throughout too. So later on, I'm going to go and fill a lot of the little spots in with polka dots. Some could be really big. Some could be littler. And just know I'm going to go back and do more of those. You could even do some of a different color. I've got a pine cone without a stem. And let's see about trying, this is a brighter green, but I wanted to do some, in some places if I wanted to have, say, a little vine, it just would be just a little line. I'm not loving this bright green, but this is the idea if you wanted to do it with a marker, and then I'm going to show you how to do it with a paintbrush, because that's just a little bright for me. So if I was doing it, I would just get a little bit of a more avocado green than that bright green. I've got my liner brush, and I might just go something like this. So I do a line first, and then I just use little strokes to make it a vine. So I probably will go over that bright green one that was done with the marker just to dull it down a little bit. So you can have a whole big vine like that. You could simply have a little 3 leaves. You can even just do simply just little leaves popping out by themselves if you want to put a little more filler in different places. What else do we have here? Let's see, how's that looking? Except for our little 1-stroke rosy flowers, I'm going to add some more dots and things. I don't like all the empty spaces. I could even do some leaves if I take a flat brush. Just a little quick 1-stroke lesson in a few minutes. So I've got a flat brush here. I'm going to load it with my green paint, darker green. I'm going to dip one corner of that brush into a lighter shade of green, maybe one into some white. So I've just got kind of like 3 colors on my brush, just so it's not a flat green leaf. And when I do that, I could go ahead and just, if I have empty space I'm not crazy about, I just press and pull, and I can get different filler of leaves here and there. These were kind of small, we'll do them bigger. And you know what, I don't have a lot overlapping here, so I do like to overlap sometimes too. I don't have to have everything on the same plane, and I could even just take some lighter green here and there and just make some leaves. And I could overlap it and things. So I'm just showing some little things just to use as filler. And now we're going to go onto our, let's try with the Posca marker again. Oh, you're welcome, Pam. Thank you. Thank you so much for popping in. I love seeing your face on Mondays here. And so for this, it's just going to be like, I'm just following that crooked shape. It's more folk arty than a real rose, but I'm just doing that little line work. It's not a whole circle around. I start a little bit, break it up, do a few more, and just kind of spiral myself right into that middle. I really like this color Posca marker as opposed to just the white. It's just a softer color, so that's a nice color to choose if you're getting markers. You might have seen me paint the pink beach roses with the one-stroke method. And let me take a little look, because we got 5 minutes. I'm going to do something on that stem. So I'm going to try a little green. And because the stem is textured, and I painted it dark on purpose so that when I dry brush over, it doesn't go into the dark areas, into the crevices, so it gives me kind of a nice look. But I want to get some metallic gold on there too. So I just dry brushed, get down into that a little bit. So I just dry brushed the green across. We have 4 minutes, you guys, so we'll wrap up, but I do want to encourage you to hang out. And I'm not sure who's up next, but live crafters all day, every 45 minutes. If you don't see someone come right along, just simply reload your page. I'm taking just a little bit metallic gold. Now, I do like this treasure gold from Folk Art, but you can get any brand. And I'm just brushing it on. I know I was watching, before me, Lulu's was doing something with gold leaf. I love gold leaf. I use gold leaf a lot. And I almost wondered about gold leafing the whole pumpkin and seeing what I could do with it, which I might do with another one I bought. But the gold leaf is really a fun process, and I love that metallic gold. So here we are with a little metallic gold on our stem, which is going to tie in with our metallic gold dots. I like the, oops, I just went and touched exactly what I painted. And I want to get some bigger polka dots. So I'm going to try not to touch that stem and just get some bigger polka dots that are up by the stem. And then I'm going to put some scattered throughout the design. But I would say that they're pretty much done with this today. And I will work on something for next week. I know we talked about pilgrims, so maybe we could get something with pilgrims. And I just want to get more. I'll be working on this afterwards, and I always finish it up and then take a picture, share the recording. I know I haven't done that a lot lately because my computer was back in the shop. It's due to be back out today, so I will make sure I get anything that I've done recorded. Let me see if I can hold it here. So it's just kind of a fun little piece that you could put out at Halloween, but you could leave it right out through Thanksgiving too. So I really do have fun with these pumpkins. And like I said, in the beginning of the season, they're kind of pricey. So I waited and actually got quite a few craft things, Halloween things that were all 60% off. So you can find those sales going on now. And they were working like crazy getting the Christmas out, which you can't be surprised about, of course. And I am looking forward to. I love Christmas too. We'll be painting some fun things for Christmas. But please, you guys, in the comments right now, just put on just thoughts for the holidays, and whether it's Thanksgiving coming up or Christmas, of things that you'd like to see painted. And if you'd like to check out more, there's links in the description for Craft Round the Clock and for my page. And I do have an online art membership. So if you think you might want to get started painting, we have a wonderful little community, perfectly geared towards beginners. We paint a couple times a month in person, and then you get a recording. And it's a small kind of intimate little membership, and there's lots of attention and a lot of feedback. If you want to see something painted, I'm happy to do that for you. And you can always message me to get that information. It's very affordable. No obligation, but it's just fun to meet with your new online painting friends and just learn some new techniques and things. So anyway, I'm going to keep, every time I finish a big dot, I'm like, I want another one, because I do love polka dots. And like I said, I could even overlap more of that, but there we are. I say we can call that finished. I might put a few more veins and lines in there, but that is that. And I will probably see you next week on Monday again. I try to sign up for Mondays, but if I don't make it, I'll do it another day. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Alexandria. Thank you guys all so much. And like I said, I'm not sure who's next, but I'm sure it's going to be a whole day of wonderful new adventures in creating. So I'm going to sign off and say see you next week, and thank you for watching. Bye, guys.